Hello and welcome to episode number 99 of Creating a Legend. I am the FM Novice. You'll join me today for our look back over season number 10. A sensational season that did end on a slight sour note. We look back on the competitions first of all. Ukrainian Premier League. The expectation was to qualify for the Champions League place. That's finishing either first or second. And as you can see, we finished first, finishing 4 points clear of Shakhtar, and it was quite a ride getting there. The key weeks were when we beat Shakhtar 4-0 at our place a couple of episodes ago. A lovely result. I thought we had blown it early season by losing back-to-back games against Shakhtar and Kiev, but we remained strong and Shakhtar did drop a couple of points here and there, which meant we won it with a game to spare. Miles ahead of Dynamo Kiev in third. So it does look like we have finally made sure that if there are two big teams in Ukraine, it is no longer Shakhtar and Kiev, it is Shakhtar and Gelios, which means we are very, very happy. Next season's expectation for me is to retain that league title. The Ukrainian Cup, the expectation was to reach the final, which we did, and then absolutely capitulated to Shakhtar in the final. As you saw in the last episode, it was our second string side in a way, or it was our first team side without the international players, which against a full strength Shakhtar side looking for revenge was always going to be very, very tricky, and so it proved, and we bowed out in a little bit of a disappointing way. The Champions League, we were expected to finish in the playoff position, so we weren't expected to get into the group stages, but we did that quite well, and we got to the quarter-final stages before bowing out to Barcelona 5-0 on aggregate. It was 5-0 in the away leg. I found this season, especially away from home in the Champions League, it is very, very tricky. At home, no one likes coming to Ukraine. We won 3 games, we lost 3 games. The 3 victories were 2 games against Rosenborg and 1 against AC Milan, and the 3 defeats were against Man City twice and AC Milan. We qualified by 1 goal. I'm never 100% sure what works and what doesn't work in a season review, so I'm just going to try something a little bit different to what I've tried previously. Just looking through the squad players at the moment and talking through the sort of plans for the long-term future. So these are my goalkeepers. Bogdan Sarniowski was the main goalkeeper, playing 48 times over the course of the season. Yao spent some time out on loan, and Mikhailov came in January. They were backups and understudies throughout the season. My main sort of conversation with myself at the moment, as I commute into work on a daily basis, is which of my 3 goalkeepers are going to start next season. They're all a similar standard, 2.5-star current abilities. Yao, I think, is the best of the lot, 21 years old and a potential 4.5-star player. However, being Ivorian means he's not Ukrainian, obviously. So that frees up that means I've only got 6 more foreign players in the remaining 10 players. So having a Ukrainian goalkeeper kind of works pretty well for me. Sarniowski's 32 now, not going to get any better. A year left on his contract, but we are going to be talking in the next few days about a new contract. So he may start first choice, but Yao is definitely the guy I want to be first choice going forward. Mikhailov is always going to be a backup option, I think, going forward, but as a Ukrainian does give me a decent, reliable option if required. The left backs were a tale of 2 players. Grebnev and Ganchev are my options. Both of them are fairly similar players, but Ganchev maybe a slightly better player, certainly got more potential as a footballer. But Grebnev is Ukrainian, which means he gets in fairly regularly. They sort of share the responsibilities. From the right hand side, it was a 2 stories. Just noticed that Stepezi is not happy with what I said in the previous press conference, which is a shame. Stepezi is the older of the 2 and probably is my first choice. A real hungry, driven, high determination Hungarian, really solid, really dependable. Dembele, more of a backup option this season. No, he's only 21, even though he has been around for a number of seasons. And Klimakov as my 3rd choice. We've got the legend that is Alexander Svatok, who has got a year left on his contract. Very much now a squad player. Did manage 20 games over the course of the season, but will always be a backup. He did want to leave throughout the season a couple of times, but I was able to convince him to stick around because I want him to be part of my coaching squad eventually. The other two centre-halves, mainly they were Bogdan Kovachenko and Pablo Raimundo. Both of those racked up over 40 appearances and were very solid and dependable. And 24 and 20 years old, those two guys should be around for a fair few years, though Raimundo may get poached by a bigger European club at some point. The backup centre-half position is a position where I do think I might need to strengthen. I've got McKenzie and I've got Edson Makeli, two South Africans. Both of them are more squad players, even though they are technically better than Bogdan Kovachenko. So one of them may get moved on if I look to bring in a Ukrainian player. Maxim Valesev is sort of the guy I'm looking at thinking you could be my future centre-half. 21 years old, spent last season out on loan in the first division. Next season he's got a year left on his contract. Next season should be the year where he gets into my squad on a more regular basis and hopefully can prove his worth to us going forward. He's only 1.5 star at the moment, so there's a lot of work for him to do in terms of the midfielders. Starting with the central midfielders, another player unhappy with my team talk, fair enough. This can be split between the Ukrainians and the non-Ukrainians. The non-Ukrainians, there's lots of potential here. Dashuk, Sabia, Brown and Mohammed, all 4.5 star, 5 star potential players, all teenagers, all spent long periods out on loan last season. They are my future generation, but probably not ready for my first team squad yet, though Cole Brown maybe. We'll have to see what the situation is like in a few weeks' time when the season starts again. Ekrem was relatively okay. 7.07 was probably a little bit lower than it should have done, but he's a 4-star player, 4-star potential. He is a good player to have around. George McKenzie, I think, may look to move him on. 27 years old, year left on his contract. It didn't feature a massive amount over the course of the season, and he does take up a foreign place when he plays. And I've got a number of Ukrainian midfielders that I need to sort of put in as and when required. They are Tanskyovsky, Kogot and Starkov, who are all similar sort of players. They are older members of my side now, though they are solid and dependable. Kogot, 31 years old, year left in his contract, but 7.30, really strong performance from him. Masny came in for a spell and did really well, 7.72 over his 6 games. Probably not going to be a long-term player, but he's got another year. He earned that extra year. And this is just a chance for him now to get into the side if he can. And the other 3 guys are teenagers. Bogdan Z was around the side, 10 appearances from the bench, but he's got a couple of years to impress. This could be the area where things could change rapidly between now and next season. I am seriously debating going 5-2-3 next season from a 4-5-1. If I do go 5-2-3, these wide players effectively become obsolete, which is ideally not the way I want to do it, because Fana and Tewu, Yanikov, Zitsky are all good enough to play on a very regular basis in our side. If we flip it to average rating to sort of show how good these players are, Fafana played 31 times, 13 goals, 7.50, was absolutely sensational. He can play a role as a striker if required, but he's a winger playing that role. So that's a big reason why I'm thinking I don't really want to play 5-2-3, because it negates the two left side and right side midfielders who do really well for us. Daniel Tewu came in at the start of the season and was slammed by the board as a player. This guy's going to be nowhere near good enough. 7.41 over the course of the season, 28 games, 8 goals, really strong season, and it's a reason why I'm not that bothered that Mikhail Chernik is going to be leaving at the end of next season. He's got a year left on his contract, and I have put Demetrio Crush up for sale. He's got a £13.75 million release clause, and there are bids on the table for him, so I would fully expect him not to be here next season. He was behind Tewu, Fafana, Yanikov for that right side position at times, so having him moving on makes sense in a lot of ways. And it's sort of that when I'm thinking 5-2-3, there's no place for Crush. If I'm thinking 4-5-1, he's a backup option. So either way, I don't think he's got a long-term future with the club, which is a shame, because he hasn't really kicked off where he was. But 13.75 million for a player cost me £80,000 a few years ago. settle for that. That's a good bit of business as far as I'm concerned. Eugene Zitsky and Denis Yanikov, who are 2 Ukrainian players. Zitsky is a superb player. Came in January of last season, played 11 times, scored 2 goals. No, didn't play 12 times, scored 2 goals. It would be helpful if I knew what 9 plus 3 equals 2. It would be helpful if I knew what the answer to 9 plus 3 was. It's been a long weekend, everyone. I'm tired. Sorry. 7.23 is his average rating for him. Yanikov as well. It's a good backup option. Got 2 years left on his contract. And I imagine he'll stick around for those 2 years. Finally, my strikers. I love a good striker, and I have a number of them. This is part of the reason why I'm thinking to go 5-2-3. Washington Ario came in at Christmas. Scored 10 goals in 17 games. Gaston Kevin Rollin played 25 starts, 16 sub appearances, 21 goals. The average ratings aren't great for those 2, but they score goals. And I kind of want both of them in the side if I can. And I've also got Valery Zorya, who's a 4-star striker. Constant Kone, a 5-star potential striker. Demetrio Sidyuk is a 2.5-star. He hasn't really kicked on, but there's 3 options there as backups to 2 really good strikers. And I am looking to bring in some more strikers if the time allows. I don't know why I say if the time allows, because I'm setting the time. So that is the squad done. This is the future transfers. The reason why I'm showing you the future transfers is because I'm going on holiday from tomorrow, and I don't know when the next time I'll be able to sit down and record an episode will be. It will probably be at least 10 days from today. This episode is coming out on a Friday, I believe, if I've done my math correctly. Recording it on a Sunday, but it's coming out on a Friday. So there'll be at least a week's gap, maybe even up to 10 days gap between episodes on YouTube. So I wanted to show the transfers that I've got coming in, because by the time we pick up the save, I imagine we'll be fairly into next season. When I'm going on holiday, I will have the opportunity to play the game, but I won't have the opportunity to record. So I will carry on playing a little bit as and when I can do on my holiday. Usually on a normal evening, I'll have a couple of hours to play and record, but I imagine it will only be about an hour maximum as I'm with family to do the playing of the game. So I don't think I'll get that far into the season, but I just don't know. So I don't want the expectation to be you'll see me for for game number 1 of next season, or when it will be. So I want to show you the transfers now, so they're done and dusted, so we can move on. So when we get to the point of showing you the next episode, it will be bam, straight into games. Let's go. Let's show off what we're doing next season. So talk through the transfers now. Right. That was a very long-winded way of saying I'm going on holiday, guys. So Prince Ansar will be coming in August. This is a guy I signed on a pre-contract agreement about 2 years ago, and I've pretty much regretted it ever since. He's a centre-back, Ghanaian. I know the picture doesn't think Ghanaian, but he is. He looks to be okay. 15 years old, he looks to be really, really good, and he does have an ambitious personality, but he doesn't really seem to improve that much. But he's only going to be 18 when he joins us. So the next guy is a Ferrari. Alessio Ferrari, a central midfielder who I'm spending I'm actually only spending 4.5 million on him because that's his release clause, which is a sensational steal. This guy looks to be a brilliant central midfielder. He's a natural defensive midfielder, but I will be playing him in that central midfield role. Deep line playmaker, central midfielder are the 2 roles he can do. Some really high numbers: first touch, passing, marking, tackling, positioning, work rate, determination, decisions, really physical, fitness. Superb player, another great Uruguayan to bring into the club, and the scout summary is 95, pretty much sign whatever the price. Ruslan Demetriov is a free transfer coming in from Mariupol. He's a solid central midfielder. He is Ukrainian, which helps. He'll do a nice solid job when required. If I'm going 4-5-1, then he'll probably have more opportunities, as he'll be one of the 3 central midfielders. If I'm going 5-2-3, then there's probably less opportunity for him, but Ukrainian, so I need Ukrainian players, and he's a good solid option and available and cheap, which ticks all the boxes I usually look for when I'm trying to bring players in. Alireza Sheera is a right winger. He looks to be a decent prospect. He's very much signed for the future. Iranian. He'll be out on loan next season, so you won't see him anywhere in the first team squad. Resolute player, quite determined, great teamwork, great work rate, some really good technicals. One for the future. And another one for the future is Bilal El Kamch. Moroccan 18-year-old. Not quite as good as the Iranian guy, but good personality, decent mentals, decent technicals, good physicals. The sort of player I always bring in. He's a more of an attacking-minded midfielder, but can play in the central midfield if required. Once again, I'm signing far too many central midfielders. They're all foreign, they're all young, they've all got 5-star potential. One of them, one day, will turn into a world beater. From Wilts, the side I've bought in McKaylee and McKenzie. This guy is 19 years old and looks to be a very, very good prospect. This guy strengthens my desire to play 5-2-3 because he looks to be a very, very good striker. And it will give me 3 very good strikers with 3 decent backup options. So to have one up front does seem a bit silly. So I've got a lot of thinking to do about formation wise. It's either going to be 4-5-1 or it's going to be 5-2-3. I may just use both throughout the course of the season, which probably would be a sensible approach to take. But I need to make sure I have options available for both sorts of ideas. So if we look at the club's best 11, and there's a reason why I'm mentioning this, because I write for the site FM Brotherhood, just contribute a blog post once a week, and my post that is going to be coming out on the Sunday after this episode, which I haven't written at all yet, will be my team of the decade, which is effectively a version of this team that we've got here, which is the best 11 from the start of the save. As I say, 10 years into the save, this is the best 11. So this is Sarniowski in goal, Miganov at left back, Svatok, Kovacenko at centre halves, Gelchik from the right hand side, Fafana from the left, Ekrem, Kogot and Starkov in the middle, with Crush from the right side, with Gaston, Kevin Rollin up front. I imagine my side will be slightly different from that. Not massively, but slightly. But we'll do a compare and contrast. Well, I say I won't, but you can, as an audience member, can do a compare and contrast. Watch this video, read the blog post, and then let me know what you think. The final thing we're going to look at, is the thing we always look at, is the club and how we have developed and where we are at the moment. So view club information. We are still an icon. I did have an honest thought of winning. If we win the league, we will become a legend. We won the league and we're still a favoured. We're still an icon. So there's still work to do before we can get into that legend status. Next season, the expectation, as I say, is winning the league and hopefully winning the double. Current players on favoured personnel list: Pablo Raimondo and Mikhail Chernik. Icons, I got Kogot and Roman Starkov. So players are getting onto that icon list for the first time, and then someday, hopefully, we'll all be on that legend list. One thing we will have in the next episode is a brand new stadium. We're due to move into the new stadium in a few weeks' time. So 5,000 capacity, which doesn't sound a lot, considering we're currently in a 24,000 all-seater stadium, but we never come anywhere near filling that. We won't fill the 5,000 stadium every time. And we are going to be having our training and youth facilities upgrading as well in early November. So our regens will hopefully become a little bit better going forward. But then again, that is the episode. Thank you very much everyone for watching. As I say, if you did watch the whole episode, there will be a gap between today's episode and the next episode because I'm on holiday. But we will join this story again at a later date. So from me, the FM Novice, to you, the audience, thank you very much for watching as always. I'll talk again very, very soon. Good night.